And I'd like to say welcome. I'm really glad that you were able to join us today. ClassDojo is a program that I'm really looking forward to learning about. I really haven't had any experience with it in about 7 years, and it's changed a lot. So we have Andrea Savino here, who's going to be sharing her experience. And then some of you may have used ClassDojo with your own students.
Special way. Oh, here? Oh, it's ClassDojo.
About what it is. So we'll get to that before Andrea starts talking so we know your experience. For those of you who haven't met me before, my name's Ann Oro. I work as the assistant superintendent for our Union County elementary schools. And I also work with all our technology integration specialists and technology directors in the Archdiocese of Newark. So I'm really happy to support you in any way that I can. We're going to begin today, as we always do, in prayer. So I'd like you to please put yourself in the presence of the Lord. I'd like you to keep any intentions in your mind that you'd like to hold in prayer. And we'll begin with a Hail Mary together. So we'll bless ourselves in the name of the Father, and of the
Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen. Hail Mary.
Hail Mary,
full of
grace.
The Lord
is with thee.
Blessed
art thou amongst women,
and
blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God,
pray for us
sinners,
now
and at the hour of our death.
Amen.
Amen.
Father, and the
In
Son,
the Father, the Son, and the Holy
Amen.
Spirit. Amen.
So a couple of months ago, I did ask some teachers who I was meeting on some Zoom meetings if they were using ClassDojo and would they be able to share. And a couple of teachers did say that they might be able to share. Andrea, like I said, is with us right now. We may be joined by some of these other teachers, but if you've used ClassDojo and your name's not on the list, this is open to anybody, because the way that we're going to learn best together is to hear experiences. So please feel free to share what you know. So I'm going to let Andrea take over to share the screen. Feel free, Andrea, before you share the screen, if you could tell us a little bit about what your role is in the school and who you, what school you work for. And before you do that, I am going to mute everybody and then unmute Andrea, just so that if there's any background noise, it helps the recording be a little bit quieter. Okay, so Andrea, why don't you introduce yourself and then you can share what you know.
Good morning, Ann. Good morning, everybody. My name is Andrea Savino. I am the Technology Integration Specialist, and I teach the computer classes and library at St. Francis Xavier School in Newark. So this is basically sort of like my, I guess, second year, I would say, sort of in that role. So we, as many of you all know and experienced yourselves, had to go over to the digital learning platform. As of like March 13th was our last day in school on that Friday. So we didn't have much time to transition, and some of our teachers were already using the platform for online learning with ClassDojo, more or less for messaging, parents, to give them updates on certain things that might be happening in the class, or sending photos, to be in contact with parents about students' behavior. But ClassDojo has come so much further than what it used to be, which was just more or less like a behavior modification tool. Ultimately, we would like to go over to Google Classroom, but with the short notice that we had, this was sort of up and running for quite a few teachers, not all of the teachers, and not everybody, would use it to post assignments. But since we were sort of like part of the way there, we just kind of finished exploring what else ClassDojo had to offer for us. So we had the whole school sign up for it, and it is free. So you can sign up as a student, a teacher, or a parent. And we had the teachers set up their classroom. And I guess I want to say that the largest struggle that we had What we found most difficult was just making sure that we were to get all of the parents signed on. And our school, you know, in terms of having the parents just used to using a lot of technology, they weren't so, you know, familiar and that comfortable in that respect. So our number one goal was to just sort of, you know, like I said, be on top of them in order to have all of the students and all of the parents signed on, which took a little while to get going, but once we did, we got them all there and it was pretty successful. The other thing that it does is basically it doesn't really allow the student so much to communicate with the teacher. All of the communication is so much sent through messaging with the parents, or on Class Story, which I'll talk about and I'll show you examples of. When the teacher puts something on Class Story, the students can see it. And actually now that's a new feature that ClassDojo has that I just found out about. That it let all of our teachers know, is that the students will be able to comment on Class Story, which is new. But anything in the past, it was always that it went through the parent. So I think it just did that basically for privacy and, you know, protection reasons. And I know, you know, Google Classroom might be more where it's student-teacher communication, where this was everything sort of through the parent. The parent, you know, would get an alert either on a, you know, a cell phone or email saying that, you know, the teacher had posted something or left a message for them and that they would be able to check it. As in a teacher, it was pretty good that it would alert you right away. If you had a message from a parent, or if you were to make a comment on a portfolio, it would let you know if the parent read it or not, or if a message was sent out, how many parents viewed it, so you could see who read it and who didn't read it. So it has a lot of great components to it, a lot of great features that it has to offer. There are a few downfalls in terms that there's certain things that it just doesn't have the capability to do yet, which it may, but it's a very small company comprised of like 50 employees about, so that they just haven't gotten there in terms of grading the actual work online like you could do with Google Classroom. It doesn't have that really. I was speaking with more teachers since I'm the specials teacher just to see their everyday use with it. That the downfall was the portfolios that the students do their work and submit the work to, and I'll show you what that looks like, can be either submitted, you know, online through a photo, but it basically, it sends it to the teacher as it's submitted. And if you're a teacher who has the same class and you're giving a lot of assignments, those portfolios can stack up. And unlike a Google Classroom, unless there's a way that we haven't researched yet, which there could be, there was kind of like not a way that you could really condense them to put them into like folders. So that, you know, is that's a little bit challenging. But all in all, it was a success for our students and our teachers. It went over really well, and the parents, they did seem to love it. So it did, you know, work out well for our school.
Okay, well, that's a great overview. I can't wait to see what it looks like. So why don't we have you share your screen and just show us a little bit about, you know, what they would expect to see if they used it with their students and how they would use it as a teacher.
Okay. Is basically what it looks like for me. This is, since I'm the specials teacher, which the one component that it offers is really great in the fact that if you are a specials teacher, a homeroom teacher can actually add you onto their page. A homeroom teacher can also add a Title I teacher, a basic skills teacher. So any other teachers that you have in your school building, you can just add them. They call it as a co-teacher, or a, you know, there's a little box. If I could find it, I'll navigate, I'll show you how to do that. You enter the teacher's email and they just have to accept. So for me, this is what it looks like for our school. If everybody could see this, I have a demo class page, and then these are all of the teachers in our school, our 6th grade and what they teach, science and math. The kindergarten teachers page, 8th grade homeroom, 5th grade, 3rd grade, 2nd grade, 1st grade, and then 6th grade language arts. And I have 7th grade language arts and 8th grade language arts on here too. This would be a button if you want to create a new class. So as the specials teacher, I get access to all of the classes. So for my classes, if I want to post anything up for the parents. I can send them a private message in the messages feature, which I'll show you what that looks like. I can send it one message, if it's the same, to all of the parents as sort of like a little messaging blast, or like it looks almost like a text messaging blast, or I can send it individually. If it's a private message and I just need to send something individual to one parent, I can do that as well. So I'll show you what those features are and what Class Story looks like. Let me see if I can just move that. These are the resources. So on the side here, you have popular teacher resources. It gave a lot of resources when we first started on remote learning, how to decorate your online classroom, a little introduction video, which sort of introduces the students to what ClassDojo is, and a back to school night presentation that shows parents basically what it is, which if you are using it in your classroom, it would be great to do that for back to school night. It was a little late for us, so we sort of didn't really do so much, but we sent a little bit of introductory videos with that too. And before I go to show you about the messages and all of the features, if you want to find out more about ClassDojo, which I can put the link after in the chat box, you just go to classdojo.com. And this actually tells you what it is and how it brings every family into your classroom. And this is how you can start signing up for free as a teacher, parent, student, or school leader. The school leader would be basically a teacher who decides that they want to take over as a mentor role for their school. So, you know, you would start off and you press the role for teacher, and then it walks you through all the prompts and everything that you need to do. This just kind of talks about what it does, how it creates a positive culture. It gives students a voice, and you have little sharing moments with parents. Because like I said, our teachers first started using it as if there were events in the classroom where they took a field trip. They just started using it to post photos and videos that way. You can share the story of your classroom with families. And this little green guy over here is called Mojo. He's kind of like they're just their little caricature, and each of your students will actually get assigned to them instead of their picture. Like I know Microsoft Teams yesterday, I believe, they were using pictures for the students. This, instead of using the student's actual picture, gives them a little funny character person. So they call them little Mojo. That would be him right here. And you get to pick which one you want for your student. The great thing, it does translate into other languages, which for our school was extremely important because our school is a large Spanish-speaking population that they have at our school. So even though the students might, you know English well, the parents at home you know, needed some extra help and might not know the English language so well, that we were able to send messages and it would translate it automatically for you into another language like Spanish. So, which made that really great at conversing and keeping the communication areas open with the parents. You can also use it on any device. So parents can use it on an iPhone. The students can use it on an iPad, iPhone, parents too with the iPad, laptop computer, or desktop computer. Also, if you as the teacher did not want to receive messages, you know, from a parent in the middle of the night, you could put in what you have known as your quiet hours, which basically would let the parents know that you'll get their message, but that it was sort of like, you know, you wouldn't be responding between, you know, say like 11 p.m., you know, to 7 a.m. or something like that. So this way they didn't think that you forgot about them, but that was sort of like your quiet hours and you would respond, you know, after that. So you could set that feature up for yourself too. All of your classroom tools are in one place. And if you can see on this screen, this is what I was talking about, and I'll show you in my classroom. These are the little Mojo characters that they give for each of the students' names. You can basically make random groups of students, you know, display activity directions, background music, and there's a whole lot to do with their toolkit. So those are extra features that they give you. Students get to have their own voice with their digital portfolios. So this is the feature, and I'll show you what that looks like with actual student work in it, of how students can submit work to the teachers. Whether they take a video of themselves and record it, they send that as part of the portfolio. They could send it as just taking a picture of their work and submitting it with the portfolio. But it's how they showcase their learning, by adding photos and videos on their digital portfolios. And again, that can be used with the Chromebooks, iPads, and any computer. And it just basically, besides each individual teacher having their own classroom set up on ClassDojo, there is also a ClassDojo page, and I'll show you what that looks like as well, for our whole school. So it brings your school community together as well. So each of the teachers are linked as one onto the school ClassDojo page. So teachers, school leaders, administrators, families can partner on ClassDojo and create one school community together, which we did for Student of the Month. Anything that we wanted to, highlight a celebration with students or teachers when it was Teacher Appreciation Day. Some of the students actually made up a whole little video, and that was posted on there for all of the parents and other teachers and students to see, thanking their teachers for being there for them for teacher appreciation. So basically it's free. Like I said, all of the resources on here are free. I don't even believe, as far as I know, that they have a paid version, as far as I can tell. And they do have wonderful professional development that they offer for free as well. So now I'm going to go into my actual classroom. So here we are. We're back here for teachers, and this is what my dashboard looks like. But we will go into, let's just check on first grade. We'll go into here because I know there's a lot of portfolio work, and it's work that was done every day. Okay, so, and I used to actually be the first grade teacher too, so I was familiar with these students because I had originally set up this page, and then I made her the co-teacher when she took over, and she sort of took over the page for me. So these were points that were given. There's different points if you click on a student. And you want to give feedback to this particular student for positive or needs work. So this is the platform that ClassDojo really started off as, which was just primarily for behavior modification, notifying parents at home and families of how the student was doing in school during the course of the day. And you could go on at any point in the day and you would give them points. Are they helping others today? They get certain points for that. And then it sort of alerts you. And you'll see their total point value will go up. Were they on task for the day? Are they participating? Persistence, teamwork, working well with others, working hard. And then edit skills just means that you can add in your own skills. So if you want to edit skills, there's something, add skill, and you would just type in whatever skill, that you want to put that they did well, and they get certain points for that. Needs work would be other things that they sort of kind of need to focus on and do a little bit better of a job at. So, I tried to keep it more or less on the positive factor and giving positive feedback. And then if I needed to talk to a parent about their child improving in a certain area, I would just do that, privately. If you put needs work, choose which points you'd like parents to see. Positive points only, all points, or they can see no points, but they can also see that points were taken away for a certain behavior that maybe wasn't so great, or an area that they need to improve upon. So that's kind of the behavior part, which is still there with ClassDojo. And that's sort of how these points, as you see here for all of the students, that's just what they mean. Now, if you need to add students to a class, you would just click on this. It's very simple when you start to set up your class, right? Like if I wanted to add Anne to my class, I'll just put, right? I would type in her name, and then I would just, it says no students added yet, but you could just add here, click the add button, and see it automatically assigns a little character mojo. If you want to change that, I believe if I click on her, there is a way to change it, and you can change it out to a certain other one. You would save, and then basically they get added to your class. You just enter each student's name, alphabetically to set up your roster, and then it sort of just gets going right away. It does have a little attendance feature that we started to use at the beginning when we were doing the online learning, so that was sort of nice. There's a timer that it has, which is sort of nice. It could do random grouping for you, like if you wanted to put them into groups like it talked about. And there was sort of a little toolkit that offers extra features. So if I click on attendance, you can mark all present for the day, mark all absent. You can click on who's ever present or absent, and then you just would save the attendance there. There's little notes if you wanted to add a note for something. And you could click on groups if you wanted to click on groups, which we didn't really group our classroom, but you could do them into tables or teams as well. This teacher pretty much just grouped them on her own, and then she would do individual Zoom meetings for that. Big Ideas sort of they have a big component with social and emotional learning. So that's kind of what this is here, where Mojo takes on positive thinking. There were videos and activities to help students learn the power of positive thinking. So ClassDojo is all about being positive. So they have a lot of these videos that actually you could, link or make an assignment with, or just put in if you wanted to, for fun for the students to learn, but on growth mindset or perseverance and empathy. And they've come from all, schools as Harvard and Stanford. Gratitude on mindfulness, moods and attitudes, big challenges, respect, positive thinking, sharing student classwork. Oh, these are some other things at the beginning that we used to get started with ClassDojo on how you share student classwork, getting started with ClassDojo, and class story cards. And this sort of would just be little videos that they would include on creating a positive culture with ClassDojo, so that the students learn how to work together on the social platform, and that it's supposed to be a positive, space. And keeping parents in the loop with ClassDojo. So it sort of just shows the parents how that works as well. So they're really great with their instructional videos to try to help you too, which is extremely helpful. So if I go back to my dashboard, there are ways that you can post to your class. So if you go here and you click on class story, it's just going to take a minute because it's a little, is everybody good so far? I know it's a lot of talk. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I actually have a question. Is there any way to make the points private?
That's a good question. When the parents go on, they don't see the dashboard page. That page is only for the teacher to see. So actually, yes, the parent is only going to see the points that their child would receive or get taken away. Yes, that's
thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions so far? No, we're good? Okay. Just, I can't see anybody when I'm sharing my screen, so just, chime in if you have a question. Students can comment on class stories. So this is the new feature I was talking about. So if your parent allows, so they have to get consent from the parent, they can actually comment now on something that the teacher posts onto class story. Are consenting on parents' behalf for this class. So you can click continue. Okay, I'm consenting, right? This would be what the class story looks like. So this teacher, the first grade teacher, wrote on June 11th, how good evening, it was sort of like a little goodbye message to our children, since the students, their last day was on Friday, June 12th. So she's just telling them, check the emails. She'll have something to do for the kids. So you basically would post something that you want to say to the entire class on class story. You can also post documents. So if there's something that they need to work on, that you're sending out to them, work for them to do, and it's in a PDF file, you can attach that. You can attach a Word file. Anytime our principal received something from the Archdiocese that needed to go out to each of the parents, she would ask the teachers to just go on to ClassDojo and post it under class story. And we would say, like a message from the Archdiocese of Newark, or a message from Mrs. Perez, our principal, please read. And if you see here, translation viewed by two parents. So automatically this will translate into the Spanish for the parents who are Spanish speaking, or any other language as well. And then you can see 6 parents liked it. It had 18 views. So it will let you know out of how many parents you have signed up in your class, which it says here, 15 students, 17 parents. So another teacher could have viewed it, or maybe the student, maybe the parent showed the student, but that will give you an idea that, okay, pretty much all of the parents saw this. So that's class story. And here's what I mean, where you have a document. So this was a parent letter with the New Jersey Department of Education. It was a survey for the parents. So this was posted under class story, and it would show you how many views they got. But you could post assignments that way as well. And there were other teachers who actually posted assignments by photo, by just taking a photo of a handwritten, like this is what they wanted them to do, and you could do that too. When they wanted, to have a Zoom meeting or anything like that. Just information about drop off and pick up when there were books and things that needed to be dropped off, or computers, or student materials that they may have left behind that they could come and pick up. So these were times for that. So anything like that, you could, you can post. You can take a picture of a letter and, put it up here as an actual file and post that as well. So that's sort of what class story looks like. And then 100% connected means that all of your parents in your class are connected. They've all signed up, they received the message via email, and they set up their ClassDojo to receive access to their child's page. Let's see here. If I go into, we'll go into portfolios. I just wanted to show one other way that you could do assignments. If I click back, this takes me to all of the other teachers' page. And each class story will look, depending on what they put, a little bit different how the teacher posts their assignments. So let's see here. Just be a minute while little Mojo is doing his thing. Okay, so you could put your own picture up if you would like, that too. You can, like I said, post photos. There was a way okay, so for this teacher, she would rather, instead of actually putting a typed, message up about what the assignment is for the day, a lot of times she would rather just write it out and take a photo of it and put it up as well. So however you feel comfortable. It gives the teacher and the students a lot of flexibility, which is good when it comes to differentiation for how the students feel that they can submit their work to you. So let me go and show you that now, since we talked about that. We'll look at portfolios. So portfolios is where the students submit work to. If we go into this, my same first grade class over here, and we go into portfolios, this will tell you that there's 20 or more things posted in here. If it's red, it means sort of like it was newly posted. Maybe the teacher didn't check that yet. Okay, that's usually what that means. That'll let you know if you have anything waiting for you to correct or check or whatever that is. Coming soon worksheets. You can share worksheets with students and they can respond right on ClassDojo. So it's getting more like into the Google Classroom in terms of how they can submit their work, and that you can make remarks on it and correct it and send it back to them. So they didn't really have that when we were doing it, but now they sort of have this feature, which I had us sign up for as a school. So these are portfolios. This has a little video here, get started with portfolios, and I actually have a link for you that if you're interested, or I could just drop it into the chat box, has a whole video tutorial that ClassDojo put on for free with a former teacher, Caitlin Warren is her name. She taught both 2nd grade and 4th grade, and she now works for ClassDojo. And the beautiful thing actually about the company ClassDojo is, besides it being very small, it's all basically run by former teachers. So they actually know the inside workings of what really, goes on in a day-to-day aspect of a classroom, which is so important, knowing when they set this up. So she does a free webinar on the portfolios, and it's called Diving Deeper into What Portfolios Can Do, and that parents will love getting to see what their child is learning in class. So she does a quick tour, and you can even try an activity on your own to get started with that. But these are what our student portfolios look like. If you can see, on the side over here has that you can create an activity for them. Right now, these are all of the activities that the first grade teacher kind of did in terms of, it was a video project for science due on Friday, a pollution project that was written, if it has little quotes, health and immune system was a video, and it'll show you here under all posts and add post, the work that each student submitted for their portfolio and what it looked like. So this would be this boy's, it looks like a math project, but the only issue is that I was saying before is that there was kind of no way, unless I have to look into it a little bit deeper, and maybe ClassDojo will get there, that they could sort of condense the work that the student submits, you know, sort of by maybe topic, you know, science or subject. So for instance, if you click on this board, it's showing all of the work that he's submitted. So in any of the subject matter. So it gets to be a little bit cumbersome and a lot to scroll through. That's the only thing. Like when you come to Chloe, and it'll sort of show you what order they submitted it in as well. That's how it sort of does the portfolios. So you might go from Chloe to now Sophia, and then whoever, okay, now Riley submitted, but it doesn't, and then we're back to Chloe. So it doesn't sort of put all of Chloe's work in one area or all of Riley's work in one area. So that's a little bit of a downfall. But this just gives you an idea of what their work looks like. And then you'll get to them. There's video assignments where, you know, you could see what videos that they had submitted to. So, you know, depending on what the teacher was asking for, if it was, you know, an actual picture that they took and posted to let them know they completed the work, or if it was an actual video assignment, which I know somewhere here, because she had quite a few videos, there is a video assignment, just so, you know, you could see how that looks. The only thing on like a Google Classroom is that the teacher is not able to grade these assignments on ClassDojo. So, you know, you would have to look at your answer key and then look at what they did and, you know, correct it and just, you know, make a list of what their errors were and ask them. There was a way for them to send it back. I know the first grade teacher would be like looking at their work that they had submitted through a photo or what have you, or a video, and say, check number 7 again, it was incorrect. And she could comment on the portfolio. So the teacher's able to comment on the portfolio. And I guess the student or the parent for the student can write back and say, you know, okay, we'll redo this one or what have you. But there's no way for the teacher to actually like go right onto the document and circle what they did, you know, digitally and have it sent to the student to correct, you know, or not correct, and give back to the teacher. So it doesn't have that aspect of it yet, but, you know, they are coming up with new features all of the time, so who knows. So this is basically just a list, but you could see this could be going on forever, and we'll eventually get to a, you know, a video submission. That's what the portfolio page looks like, and that's where the student work goes. And that's what gives the teacher the ability to comment on the student work and correct it. Messages. This is basically the best feature that when I asked our teachers what was a downfall, what wasn't such a downfall, what they liked the best about ClassDojo, they love the messages feature the best. The only other thing I need to mention before I move to messages about portfolios that I was discussing with the 8th grade teacher this morning is that the portfolios are private to each student and the teacher and the parents only if the student is working on it at home and submits it at home. Now, when the student logs on to submit their work or do their work, there's 2 different access points. The student can submit the at home, or the student can submit from the school side. The downfall that we discovered with this is that if a student signs on with the school side, which could be great for doing a collaborative project with other students, especially from other classes, then you would want the school side because those students can share their notes with each other or assignments with each other if they have to, because it's a collaborative project. However, When our students were working on assignments, it was mostly individual. And what we discovered that is if the student goes on under the school side, that would enable other students to see that assignment, which became a problem with the middle school aged group because, you know, there were concerns with cheating. So they would have to be in the at-home or private view with the portfolio, and that would only give the parent, the teacher, and the student access to look at what work is in the portfolio. Now, even though you set it to private, if you are the teacher, what we found out is there was a loophole difference on the desktop versus the iPad. So if you're using this on the iPad with the portfolios, it seemed that the iPad would automatically, I guess, go to the more open school version when the student logged in, and then the parent was actually able to see other children's work. And they had asked the first grade teacher, well, I thought we could only see our own child's, but I'm able to see this child's work and this child's work. So we had to do some troubleshooting and contact ClassDojo about that. And I'm not sure they realized, like on the iPad, it seemed to be more open, but when you were to use a desktop and the parent was to log in, even if they logged in under the school side, for that student, it didn't give open access for other parents to see the work. So I don't know if that's just sort of a little hiccup with the device that you use, that the laptop or desktop computer seems more secure than the iPad or the iPhone. So we did come across that, like I said, was just primarily an issue with the upper grades. In terms of giving an assignment and worrying about, you know, cheating, or if it was a test or some kind of a graded research assignment. If you're doing collaborative work, then it wasn't really such a big deal. With the younger grades, the students didn't really realize it, the parents noticed it. So it was more with the parents noticing that they could see and view other children's work. So that was just a downside with the portfolios. Okay, so messages, like I said before, allows you to create a new message, and you can send it all as one message to all of the parents, sort of like a little email blast or messaging blast right here. Okay, so you can do that to everybody, and then it will tell you again that it's seen by 14 parents. It was translated by one parent. You can send the message in the English language, or you can also send it in the Spanish language as well. This was a message that I had sent from the teacher and myself about an online religion program we were using. So I had sent it in Spanish as well, but it would actually translate it on its own, so you don't always have to do that. You can also insert a video link for the parent to look at, and they can click right on it. Or you can insert an assignment if you want to send them extra work privately, maybe reinforcement work to look at. You can send that as well through the messages. And that's what this little paper clip does. It allows you to attach a file, and the little photo thing allows you to attach a photo if you want to send a picture. If you want to contact just one parent individually and send them a message, you would just click on that particular parent, and then you would send, you know, whatever message you want. You just type it in the box right here, and you would click send. Or if it was an assignment that they needed to do, or a photo that you wanted to send them. So that's how messages work. It's instantaneous. It would go right to my cell phone and let me know that, you know, a parent had just sent me a message. You can write them right back, either on your cell phone or your iPad or whatever electronic device you're using. But the nice thing is it would let you know right away. And it would tell you when that parent read it, if it was checked off, what the date was, if they translated it into another language or not. So we really love the messaging feature. The other thing that was really great was, just like I said before, the students can record their own videos and submit them. And it was really great for journal entries and writing prompts. So that made it really helpful for that. They have a great ClassDojo help desk on their website that you can search that, or you can actually email them with any questions. So that is extremely helpful. And just the last feature that they had, these were one of their webinars. Like I said, their online video tutorials that they have, which are right here on YouTube, they have their own YouTube channel. But they actually have a ClassDojo Facebook community. So you can sign up as a teacher and you join their group, and you'll find out all of all of the latest information you're able to find out that's going on in ClassDojo. So that's extremely helpful. You can sign up for the ClassDojo Facebook teacher community. And that's their Facebook page, and they'll let you know where all of their videos and tutorials are located for free online. And they do offer a professional development certificate too that they give you, that you created a training session. So if you need professional development for your school, that's really beneficial. That's all of the basics that I have to offer that we used with our school with ClassDojo.
Andrea, that is fantastic. So if you want to stop your screen sharing, I'm going to be hosting a different conversation in about 5 minutes, but does anybody, first of all, have anything that you'd like to ask? Trish?
Andrea, is your school only using ClassDojo? You're not using Google Classroom or any other platforms, or?
Right. As of right now, we are not. We are trying to work on, over the summer, getting set up for Google Classroom, but you can use Google Classroom and ClassDojo. So, you can have ClassDojo going on with another platform as well.
Awesome. No, yeah, like it's kind of like all over the place. Like I work at 2 different schools, and everybody's at kind of different what they're using. And I was using Google Classroom and ClassDojo already, so it was a super easy transition for me. But you telling I was really using ClassDojo way back when, but I really only used it for like what you started with, like classroom management. And
Right.
what happened was, at my one school, St. Peter's, which I see Kathy Carpenter here, they were we also have school pages on our school website. So for the upper grade, for like upgrades 2 and up, I was posting things in Google Classroom during remote learning. But for the younger grades, and I only teach K to 8 at both schools, the pre-K doesn't have specials. So I was just posting their work on my webpage blog. And then, you would get things back to the address. They would email it to you, whatever. And then the kindergarten, I reached out to the kindergarten teacher about, can you ask this parent, whatever? And she said, do you want me to just add you as a teacher on my my ClassDojo? And I was like, you guys are using ClassDojo? Where's this information been? So, and then I got to really see the messages, and I got so much positive feedback from parents. Like, this is so much easier to just send me a message and whatever. And so it was really, really great. So I just didn't know if you guys were in the same boat I was, using both or using just one, or.
Right. We'll probably still keep ClassDojo.
Oh, totally. Because I use it, like I said, for my classroom management too. And if, God forbid, we have to go back to remote learning, that's how I'll deal with the younger grades. So.
Yes, it's especially wonderful for the younger grades as well. That's true too.
And that's a good point to just mention. Like I said, just briefly, if Kathy from a pre-K teacher or Lorraine from a first grade teacher, if you'd like to jump in for just a quick minute and share with people what worked for you and your parents and students.
Okay, Kathy, I'm at St. Peter's with Trish. The principal wanted the lower grades to all go with one program, and she felt she liked the security of ClassDojo. So she asked us to do ClassDojo. What worked for me was the class story, because my class, the parents didn't want to be locked into going on to Zoom at a certain time. So I did 2 lessons every day. The one limitation is they're only 8 minutes, but they are expanding that. They were also very good about taking teacher input. So they asked for teacher input, and that's why the worksheets are out there, and that's why they're expanding the time you can record. So I put lessons on each day, and the parents could look at them at their convenience. You can see if they can look at them or not. So if you saw people pulling back, you could kind of gently prod them. The other good thing is when you read a book, it automatically corrected the writing so that it was the way it should be written. Like you could see it wasn't backwards, which not all the programs did that. When you use some of the other programs for recording and you looked at it, the book, all the words would be backwards. So that was a good thing too.
That's great for the little kids. And Lorraine, how about the first grade?
I haven't used it. I didn't use it for this school. I used it for a school that I worked in years ago, and I love the ease of it. The ease of communication between the parents.
Mm.
We had a different one this year in this school, so I wasn't very pleased with how complicated it was. And Dojo is just it has an ease for everyone. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that, because this is where I think some of these lesson learns and Q&As have been so helpful for everybody who's joined. It's given you a little view of what might be possible if you don't love what you did, and if you've never heard of it before, it gives you an opportunity to talk to your tech integration specialist and your principal. I'll have this video up online in YouTube sometime by July. And so feel free to go to that YouTube channel. And if you try to explain what it is, somebody at your school could take a look at this and learn if maybe it could support your schools as well. So I am going to right now have to start closing out our session. I will share my screen. I want to thank Andrea again so much for so clearly showing us what ClassDojo can do.
Sorry, that was a lot to get in like a short amount of time. It has a lot to offer. So
It's a good job.
You did an
Thank you.
excellent job.
Thank
Thank
you for coming and asking your questions and contributing.
I'm going to put this up at the end of our conversation, but if you haven't been meeting with us, I want you to know that I have a YouTube channel, and the way to get to it is by going to tinyurl.com/arcanyoutube. I've definitely got about 20 videos to post from different Zoom meetings that I've had with elementary teachers and early elementary teachers. So there'll be more and more coming, and all of these lesson learned conversations are getting recorded as well. So if you couldn't meet with us and you want to hear what was talked about, feel free to go to that YouTube channel. Also, I have 3 Facebook groups, one for early childhood teachers, one for any teacher who'd like to join, and one for principals and administrators. So feel free to join us. You just get asked what school you work for and what grades you work with, and then you're automatically brought into the group.